everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Table Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Taylor. I am joined today with Paula and Tom. Thank you guys for being with us today. We are going to be talking about Stephen Ministry. So how about we start with you guys introducing yourself, and then if one of you would just kind of give us an idea of what Stephen Ministry is.
Sure. Ladies first.
Okay. My name is Paula Weber. I've been attending Pathways for just a little over 5 years now. The reason I got into Stephen's ministry is that I had worked in healthcare my entire life. And a little over a year ago, I retired and was looking for something to do. I had the extra time, and I'd always kind of been somebody that liked to take care of others. And so it was a natural fit for me to get into Stephen's ministry.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
You're welcome.
Yeah, my name's Tom Bowman. This is my 10th year with Pathways. And when I retired a few years ago, I wanted to be able to do more. And so this seemed like a good fit. I prayed about it and got involved in it. It's a wonderful ministry. And it has potential to help a lot of people. So.
So Stephen Ministry is one of our care ministry options. So what does that mean? What is Stephen Ministry?
Well, I guess the way we would describe it would be a ministry of presence. We metaphorically walk alongside people that are going through traumatic experiences in life. And we're all broken in some way. We all experience grief or sadness at times, and usually we tough it out and get through it. But sometimes we have situations, it might be the loss of a marriage, the loss of a loved one, the loss of a job, the loss of health. You get a cancer call. So there's a lot of things that are traumatic, and it seems like it's more than we can bear ourselves, and that's where the Stephen Ministry comes in, and where we become assigned to somebody who seeks some help. And I guess I'd like to make a pitch for that, because I think, especially men, it's difficult sometimes to admit that you're having difficulties, and especially with your feelings. I was raised that men are supposed to push their emotions down, and men don't cry, and all these other lies that we're told. So those traumatic instances are something that we focus on. So the main tools that we have are listening and providing a caring environment. So that's confidential. So anything that they say to us, whether they want to vent, that's fine. But it's not going to go any further than that room, and it's not going to be judged. We have a grace-based acceptance policy, so there's no judgment for anything that they want to say. And your feelings, you own your feelings. They're not something that you create. They're something it's a gift from God, really. And sometimes they're overwhelming, and so we help them process those tough feelings in an environment that's suitable for them opening up. So we build relationships. Sometimes it takes a while to build that caring relationship and that trust.
Just understandable. Just like any relationship.
Just like any relationship.
Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. So what do you feel like, how did you feel equipped enough? Because you're not counselors, you're not certified counselors, right, but you are there to offer, a listening ear. So what made you feel equipped to be able to handle these hard conversations? Because the loss of a loved one, the loss of a job, like a divorce of some sort, that's heavy stuff. It's not just a normal conversation topic.
Yeah.
You want to take that one?
Yeah. Honestly, the Stephen's Ministry training is as top-notch of a training as I've ever had. And I've had lots of training,
wow,
in my lifetime as a healthcare provider. Really, the skills that we've learned, it's over how many months? About
there's 20 modules of 2.5 hours each.
Yeah, so like 20 some weeks worth of training. But again, just top notch training that give you skills to help these people. Really gives you skills to be able to relate to anybody, to your family, to your friends, to whomever it may be. I felt 100% ready when I got my first care receiver.
Good.
The training was awesome.
That's huge.
Awesome. The training, there's homework involved too. So we figured 75 to 100 hours of training. And like Paula said, it makes I think it makes you a better person, even if you weren't it didn't end up being a Steve minister. You'd be a
Yes.
better person for it. Excellent training.
What are some of the key things you took away from the training?
Listening skills, what feelings really are. A lot of times people say, well, I feel I feel this way about that, and they're really talking about an opinion. That's not a feeling. Feelings are happiness, sadness, anger, fear, those types of things, and there's ways to deal with those, and so the training helps us to be a better listener, which is a skill set that can be learned, and in which most people are terrible at. And so we get better at it, I think, by practicing this ministry with those. I've learned a lot about, for example, if you're talking to somebody, you ask them a question, and there's a long silence. Most people are uncomfortable with that. We've learned that we've learned to be comfortable with that long silence, because out of that comes some confessions and some letting things loose that they were holding back, which is what they need to do. They need to work through those feelings.
Yeah, I think it's huge when someone is offered space to think and to process and then respond. Because so often I feel like in our culture, we're just talking and then the other person wants to talk back. And then it's like a full conversation, but it's not actually active listening with one another.
Right.
So to actually be able to sit down and be like, I'm here to listen to you specifically, but like that's whatever they want to talk about. So like give them that space to breathe.
Yeah. That's a good way to say it.
It's huge. So that's awesome.
So we're normally assigned one care receiver at a time we meet like about an hour once a week or so.
Okay.
It doesn't always work out that way, but we meet regularly with them, and we're kind of on call a bit if they need to talk. There's been a couple times where I've gotten calls in the middle of the week and say, I really need to talk to you. Can you break free? And if we can, then we do it. And so we want to be there for them. We want to provide. It's really a Christian ministry because it's Christ centered. We share scripture with them. If we'll ask them if it's okay first.
Oh, sure.
We pray with them, and we'll make sure we get their permission to do that. And in my experience, they've been hungry for prayer and for scripture. So,
and I find that that's a time where it evokes the emotion from them, and that's kind of what we're looking for. You know, when I ask, is there anything I can pray for you with this week about? And you know, that's the time when they're like, oh,
that's a good point.
You know, that's when I often get tears and those prayer requests. And, you know, it's just a sweet time, you know, that we're able to bring those petitions to God.
Yes.
We really get emotionally involved with those people. I mean, that's part of what a caring relationship is. I mean, you really care for these people deeply.
Yeah. Let's talk about how you separate that, though, right? So have a healthy balance for yourself as a Stephen minister, but also engage well enough with your care receiver. How do you kind of balance that?
I think one of the main tenets is that God is the caregiver and we're the caregivers. So God is the one.
Say that again.
God is the caregiver and we're the caregivers. So God is the one that's going to fix them. It's not our job, our role to fix them. That's God's role.
Yeah.
But we are there to walk alongside them and be with them during their time of crisis, whatever that may be.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which can be so hard because I feel like us as humans really like to fix things, kind of especially guys, right? You always hear like the husband and the wife is talking about something and the husband's trying to fix it. And she's just like, no, I just want you to listen.
You're right about that. We are very careful to only ask questions. And the idea of asking, we work a lot with questions about asking intelligent questions that help them to deal with these feelings that they have. And there's been times where I've had a care receiver say, boy, I really appreciated the advice you gave me last week. And I'm thinking, I worked very hard not to, but by asking them questions, they come to the conclusions on their own. And they may see that as you help them to do that. And they might look at that as advice, but we don't give advice.
That's even more profound because then they're actually internalizing what you have talked about.
Yeah.
And the questions you're asking them is provoking them to think deeper on the subject. So it just helps.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's awesome. Is there a reason behind why it's called Stephen Ministry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's based out of Acts 6, I believe,
Yep.
in where Stephen
The first martyr.
and he was the one of the first care ministers. So,
Okay.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there was to expound on it a little bit, there was a situation that was happening in Acts chapter 6 where the 12 were having to disperse food, and they were kind of taking time away from them evangelizing and spreading the word of God, which is their primary. So at one point, the Greek-speaking Jews complained that their widows were not getting the dispensing of the food. And
Oh, I know the story.
yeah, you know the
Yes.
story. And so the disciples, the 12, got together and got all the disciples together. So we need to pick 7 men and who have good reputation and have them wait on tables, is how a lot of translations use it. And so that care ministry gave the evangelists, the apostles, the ability to focus on what they did best. And so I think what we do helps with the ministry. With the pastor's only one person, and if you've got several pastors, there's a limit there. And so a lot of things that they would do in counseling, just listening, we can do, and we can help with the ministry.
Absolutely. And then remind me of what some of the situations you guys provide care for.
Anything from grief, a death of a family member, maybe, to somebody that maybe that's going through drug or alcohol problems, a divorce. It could be job problems. It could be parenting problems. It really could be just the gamut. It really could be any stressful situation that somebody is going through where they feel that they could use somebody to walk alongside them.
Yep.
Wow. So really someone could be like, I just feel stressed and I just need someone to talk to. That fits.
Absolutely.
So it's a case by case basis, because then do they kind of graduate as a care receiver?
Yeah, there's the goal of the caring relationship is to bring people who are broken, maybe more than normal, to move from that state of brokenness to a state of wholeness. And once that's the goal, is to get them to work through their feelings, and so there was the point where there may be where they may have been dysfunctional, they're functional again. So the goal is to bring healing and eventually end that relationship. So yeah, there's no cost. First of all, there's no time limit like there might be with HR might give you so many weeks of
Sure.
But we stay with them pretty much as long as is necessary. But if you think about it, usually maybe it's a year, maybe it's longer than that, maybe it's shorter than that. But that's kind of about right, I would say.
That's amazing. That's quite the relationship you developed then.
Yeah. And people are matched, first of all, by gender. So women see women, men see men. And then Barb, who coordinates it all, she prays about it. She finds out about the person's need first, and then kind of prays about it and tries to match people personality wise, etc. And really, it I don't know how to say it, God breathes, or God.
Yeah, that's a good way to say it.
Is that
God ordained.
Yeah, God ordained. That
handpicked.
Yes. And I'm on my second relationship now. Just started it last week, as a matter of fact. And both of them that I've had, there's been an immediate connection, and I can tell that I'm meant for them. They're meant for me.
Wow.
So yeah,
that's amazing.
It's very cool.
Yeah, another thing I'd like to point out too is that as we've gone through the class together, we spent a lot of time doing these exercises, they kind of make you vulnerable, and because you do some role playing and you actually share some real stories that are in your life that may help you to understand.
Okay.
And because of that, we get very close. They all feel like a family to me, and you can clearly see that God's hand has been in who He's brought there. People that truly care about other people.
I think that's huge. I think it's important for them to know that it is such a safe space for them to be able to come and talk, and that's it. It doesn't leave.
Well, sometimes you may want to you want to talk to somebody, but you've talked to your friends, and your friends have been judgmental. They really haven't listened to you, or maybe you don't want to dump on your spouse. You don't want to lay something heavy on your spouse. You just like somebody who would care about you, would listen to what you're going through. And that's also a very I've experienced that situation.
Mm.
And that we really encourage people to share what's on their heart,
Yeah.
that we are not going to judge them. And so, we all have ucky stuff in our lives,
Yeah.
right?
We're human.
And
Yeah.
as Christians, we're not supposed to have that ucky stuff.
Mm.
We all know we do, right? And so we just really encourage these people that are hurting to, put it all on the table, and we're there to listen and to not judge.
Yeah. And you're not there to fix it.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too.
Yeah,
You're just there to walk. We say shoulder to shoulder. We're there to walk through it, and you said that already. We're there to walk through it with them.
Yeah.
Not alone.
Well, I think back to just Jesus's ministry in general and the amount of times that he is quoted for saying anything. It's a parable of sorts or a word of wisdom, but he's never trying to fix anything. Like he's always just trying to offer
That's a good
that
point.
advice that he has. So you're kind of taking that model and you're sitting with them and you're joining them in that situation. Because you're right, we are human. So how would you guys encourage someone who's on the fence, who's like, I'm stressed, I have a problem, but it doesn't feel like that big of a deal. I don't actually need to talk to someone. How would you guys encourage them to take that step and meet with you?
Yeah, I know it's more difficult for men.
Yeah.
But how
to access Stephen Ministry, there is a link on Pathways website.
Yep.
So they could just go to Pathways website, go to the Stephen Ministry link, click on that. They'll be connected with Barb, and she can get the process started. And, if in that initial conversation that she decides or you decide, this isn't for me, that's fine. Or maybe maybe the problem is bigger than what a Stephen's minister can handle, then an appropriate referral will be made.
Yeah, but a great stepping stone.
Yeah. That would be the way to get kind of connected.
Yeah.
And I would say just if you're uncertain, just try it. It's not going to hurt anything.
It's free.
If it's not for you, you find that out.
Yep.
But try it, because there are people out there that do care about you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will put that link in there. It's pathwayschurch.us/Stephen Ministry. But in this podcast, I will link below where you can directly get in contact with Barb, and then she can further help you find a Stephen minister if that's what you're hoping for. Because it's just nice to know the next steps and to be able to have that.
Yeah. It's pretty easy, really.
Yeah. How fast is that process, do you feel like?
Very fast, I think.
Yeah,
I think so too.
Barb will see either get the call or she'll see the form,
Right.
and she'll probably do something right within minutes, and we'll get a call and they'll say, "Well, we have Stephen, a care receiver for you. Would you be able to take care of that one?" And then we would usually say yes, and well, then here's the number. Give them a call, and so that may all happen in hours. You know.
Yeah.
And I think that we've been blessed in that we've always had a Stephen minister for a need. That might not always be the case, but I don't think there's been a long wait for anybody that has needed a Stephen minister yet. But we can always use more.
Yeah. So there's a pitch for more Stephen ministers. So if we get enough folks, we would do more training and with the same work material that we have, which is excellent. So
yeah, absolutely. Yes, there's an informational meeting for anyone interested in being a Stephen minister on Sunday, October 13th. It'll be following both the 8:30 and the 10 a.m. service in room 206. But you can find all information at pathwayschurch.us/events or on our app. But yeah, if you're feeling like you can relate to both of these awesome individuals and you want to be there and just offer, I don't know, a listening ear or a kind heart to someone who's in need, like, please at least come to the informational meeting. Like, learn.
We'll train
about it.
We'll provide the training.
Yeah.
All you got to do is provide the heart.
There you go. That sounds pretty easy. Tell me about this safe house.
So the foundation of that safe house is grace-based acceptance. So that's the foundation of it, is that you're in a safe zone. You're in a safe place. You can say whatever you need to say, and it doesn't bother me even if the language is a little fiery. We're there to help them. So then on the walls are listening and empathy, and that's two of the big skills that we've trained in, and that we're growing in. And the better we can do those two things, the better Stephen minister we're going to be. The door is trust. So trust is something that's built up. So as you build this caring relationship, you build it up, and that opens the door to the inside. And it's all covered with confidentiality. So there's whatever is spoken there, it doesn't leave that room. So, and it could be it could be in somebody's house, or it could be in room 206. It could be wherever wherever we agree to meet. So
that's really cool. I feel like there should be a class just on listening and like empathy in general for like human beings.
You'll definitely get that training in the Stephen's ministry training.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can steal it from the modules.
There you go. What have you guys learned about yourself through this process? Either personally,
that's a good question,
or with your relationship with God, or both.
Yeah. I think I've grown as a person in empathy. I've become a better listener. I care. I think that my concern and care for other humans, other brothers and sisters, whether they're in the faith or not, has increased. Seeing that people in pain for whatever reason, it brings up the feelings of empathy, and so I think I've grown in all those ways, and I look forward to growing more. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be.
Okay.
I think I'm a better listener since the training and since I've been doing the Stephen ministry. I think I tend to try to fix less, not just with my care receivers, which I don't ever do with my care receivers, but even with my family. I've learned, that I don't fix my kids. I ask good questions. I get them to kind of come up with those answers themselves.
I agree.
It's really good.
I agree with that. That's happened to me too. I don't try to fix things as much.
Do you kind of catch yourself in the moment?
Yeah.
Of doing it? If you're like, oh nope, just listening.
I bite my tongue.
Yeah.
Literally, right?
Yeah, literally.
Yes. I think that's awesome that even you guys, as the ministers, can kind of get something out of it.
Oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, like growth from it. It's huge.
Big growth. Yeah, I mean the blessings that have come back. I think you would agree, because we've talked about this in our supervision meetings. But the blessings that come back to you are, it's someone that we know said it's better to give than to receive.
Literally.
And it's really true. What you get back from it is astounding. It's such a blessing.
Yeah, it really is.
And you can experience that too if you become a Stephen minister.
Yes, you can.
We have to build a trusting relationship with one another, but we're also building a trust relationship with the Lord. And the more we do that, the more we realize it's not on us. The pressure's not on us. The weight's not on us. We're there to do His will, to help a brother, in our case, or a sister.
Yep.
And that's to me, that's what the caregiving part. But we always know in the back of our mind, if there's going to be healing, and when there's going to be healing, it's going to be from Jesus. So we know He's the cure giver.
Yes.
So that's a kind of a motto that we say that probably almost every meeting.
Oh, wow. Tom, do you want to speak to the men specifically?
Yeah.
In terms of the importance of opening up and having these conversations?
Yeah, it's difficult. And I think maybe it's a little different with different generations, but my generation, we were taught to suppress our emotions. And that was what being a man was, being tough, And I see some of that it seems more difficult for men to get in touch with your emotions. And, our emotions, our feelings are what separate us from AI, from robots. That's what makes us human. And we're almost everything we do is motivated by some emotion, whether, and it could be for good or bad. I mean, hatred motivates a lot, love motivates a lot, fear. I mean, all these. So these are things that we need to discuss, need to work with, and so the men really need to kind of step up. And I think that's stepping up as a man to admit those weaknesses and maybe where you need some help.
Absolutely. Anything else you guys would like everyone to know about Stephen Ministry?
We've got some great leadership. in Barb and also in Pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's been very, very helpful. And so we just want to get the word out so that people who are hurting can be helped. So,
Yeah. So you guys as ministers meet on a regular basis
Once
just
a
to
month.
connect? Oh, you meet
Yep.
once a month.
Yep. Once
Okay.
a month.
yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because then you have that space also
Right.
of like that free time where still being confidential, of course,
Right.
but like we're able to kind of process through everything.
We can bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah.
And then we also do continuing education.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's a time for continued growth as
Nice.
ministers
That's-
and then to help each other.
So thank you so much. I really
Thanks for-
appreciate it.
Thank you for having
Thanks
us.
for having us and being able to talk about this.
Oh, absolutely. It's huge.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to feel cared for and heard and
Yeah,
just listened to.
absolutely.
And I think that's huge. So thank you both for being willing to just share your experience as much as you could and how you've grown and just the benefits of being a student minister and like ministering to other people.
Well, thanks for the opportunity, Taylor. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll meet you at the next Table Talk podcast. We'll see you then.